Let's get ready to rumble!
Hello everyone! Welcome to my show! I'm Kevin BKT, your host. Thank you so much for watching me on SMCTV. And thank you for watching on my YouTube channel. Don't forget to smash the like button, ring the bell, and subscribe. So guys, from Shrewsbury Fire Department, please welcome my two guests, Firefighter Mike and Captain Lawler. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, bud.
Now that's how you book the guest, huh guys? How are you guys feeling? Are you guys good?
Doing
Great.
good.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure.
Of course. Thanks for having us.
So Captain Lawler, how long have you been a firefighter?
I've been a firefighter for 20 years in the town of Shrewsbury.
20 years?
20 years.
That's good. So Firefighter Mike, what kind of education do you need to receive in order to get in the fire department?
In Shrewsbury, in particular, we're what we call a civil service community. So there's an exam you have to sit for, and when you pass the exam, hopefully your score is good enough to be appointed to the fire department. So you have to stay in school and study all sorts of different kinds of courses, and hopefully you get on.
That's very good. So Captain Lawler, what exactly do firefighters do?
We do a bunch of emergency calls, predominantly medical calls. So if someone's sick, not feeling well, or they become injured, we have to respond to their home or their workplace or school. And the ambulance comes with us, and as well as a police officer. So we're all first responders. So we basically go there, make sure they're okay, and get them ready to transport them to the hospital. Other calls we have are fire or building structure fires, car accidents, hazmat calls, animals need rescue, water rescue, ice rescue. There's a bunch of different things.
Wow, you guys are really heroes.
No, don't feel like a hero, but thank you.
Firefighter Mike, how long is your shift at work?
So we work 24 hours at a time, and our shift begins at 8 o'clock on one day and doesn't finish up until 8 o'clock the following day.
Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah.
Sometimes it feels like a long time, sometimes it doesn't.
So Captain Lawler, we all know that Shrewsbury is growing a lot, right? Is there enough firefighters at the fire department?
It's a very interesting question. According to standards, it says for safety wise, there should be more firefighters. The town of Shrewsbury is doing their best to keep up with the increased population and demand. The number of calls that we go on each year are increasing. So we're trying to make it a safer environment for us to work in, but also be more efficient at serving the public in time of need.
Wow, that's very cool.
Thank you.
So Firefighter Mike, we all associate firefighters with fire trucks, right? What else do you guys have?
Well, we have a number of different apparatus within our fleet, including a hovercraft, a boat, and of course fire engines and a ladder, a tower actually. And so all of those pieces of equipment make up our fleet, and that's how we best serve the public.
Very interesting. So, Captain Lawler, what number do we have to call when we need a firefighter?
Excellent question. So 911 is the emergency number that we call in case of any emergency. For the police, if you're not feeling well, for the ambulance, and of course if you have a fire in your house or an emergency in your home, you need the fire department. So that 911 call will go to police department, police headquarters where the dispatchers work, and then they put the appropriate number of response, number of police, fire engine if needed, ambulance. They kind of dictate who goes to the call.
Very cool. So firefighters and police officers have the same number, right? How does the call is sent to the right place? If there's a bad guy in our house and we need a police officer, or our house is on fire and we need a firefighter.
So we have the police dispatch, who are professionally trained, and they listen to the call and what the nature of the incident is. And say if it's a medical, they dispatch the police, the fire department, and an ambulance. If there's a bad person or you're scared in your house, they would dispatch the police department because they take care of the bad guys. And if there's a fire in the home, or you're not feeling well, or if something smells like it's burning, then they would dispatch the firefighters.
So, firefighter Mike, can a girl become a firefighter?
Absolutely. Yep, there's a set standard that everyone has to maintain, and like I said before, it's uniform across the board, so as long as all the requirements are satisfied, anybody can be a firefighter.
Cool. So, Captain Lawler, can you give us any safety tips?
Sure. It's coming up. The winter is going by, spring's coming up, and the summer right around the corner. We want to make sure that everybody stays safe, so we always have classes for the schools or senior citizens, so we give them on cooking in the house safely, or actually Firefighter Mike is part of a program that we're putting out for the fire department about installing smoke detectors in people's homes that don't have that. They want to stay safe. That's a big thing for the chief and for the department, is to ensure that everybody's safe in their own home. So when you're sleeping at night, your house is protected. You have working smoke detectors, that they're not just taken down or none at all. It's also a home inspection program, so we'll go through the house and ensure that there's safety, not hazards, to tripping hazards or cords or improper use or storage of materials. And Mike can give you a little bit more information on the program.
Yeah, we were fortunate enough to get a federal grant that allocated some money to the town of Shrewsbury to provide this service, and it's provided to residents at no cost. So it's a free program, and it's targeted at risk demographics. So people who may be elderly or very young, people who may not speak English as a primary language, as well as people who may require additional assistance, mobily impaired, visually hearing impaired, and things like that.
So, Captain Lawler, what exactly is a smoke detector?
Smoke detector is a unit that's fixed to the ceiling. If there's a fire inside the home, it off gases or breaks up the materials, it becomes fine materials, and that smoke and heat rises to the ceiling. And if you think of it kind of like this unit right here, I had a smoke detector at the department, but it went missing. I apologize. And so the smoke kind of passes through, and it adheres to almost like a metal surface or a magnet, and that conducts the alarm to go off and allows you to know that there's smoke or something burning in your home. There's different types of smoke detectors, but predominantly the photoelectric. Those are the ones that we're kind of pushing for safety reasons. A little less false alarms, so that people are cooking or taking a shower don't activate by accident their fire or smoke alarm.
Well, that's what my daddy used to announce that the dinner's ready.
Oh yeah?
Just kidding, Daddy.
The state of Massachusetts is pushing for carbon monoxides on each level of the home, outside the sleeping area, and that ensures if you have fossil fuels like oil, that if that misfires or there's a problem inside the home, it will alert you or wake you up because it has a reading. The CO itself is tasteless, odorless, you can't see it. So the sensor is the only thing that can pick it up, and that activates and tells you to get out of the home. So that's kind of like a big thing for the fire safety aspect of prevention, and smoke alarms and CO detectors are our first line of defense.
So, Firefighter Mike, if we don't have a smoke detector in our home, how do we get it, and how often should we change it?
That's a great question, Kevin. So for folks who may not have alarms in their home, I recommend that they first, if they can afford it, buy one and install it, because you need that kind of protection in your home. but they can also log into the town's website, check out our page from the fire department, and you'll see a link to sign up for a installation and home safety assessment program. And again, that's at no cost. It's completely free. And we'll come out and we'll at the very minimum do that home safety assessment. And for qualified individuals, we may even install smoke and carbon monoxide detectors.
So, Captain Lawler, what should we do when we hear the smoke detector going off?
Okay, so the smoke detector is basically telling you something's wrong in the house and you need to get outside. So we asked, most homeowners are very knowledgeable of their layout of their house, but they should practice that. And we asked that they create a plan, which is an evac plan or escape plan. And you can draw it on a plain piece of paper so that the family knows what route they should get out. There's always 2 ways out of every room. And you should move down the hallway in a controlled fashion, not screaming and yelling. Kind of like they do at the schools when you guys have a fire drill. And then we have a meeting place outside the home, right in front of the house. That way when the fire department shows up, they know everybody's safe and outside the house, and then we can go and do our job. So it's something that you kind of have to draw out, practice, or plan first, and then practice it. Just like we do in the schools, fire drills.
Very cool.
But you shouldn't roll back over and go to bed or think somebody's cooking something on the stove. You should always check with an adult, make sure that there's not an emergency, and if there is an emergency, you get out of the house right away.
Inside a fire department is very cool, right guys? Captain Lawler showed me all about it. Let's take a look at this. Oh, and right after that, Captain Lawler and Firefighter Mike is gonna play a game with me. Let's take a look at this. Hello everyone! I'm here at the Shrewsbury Fire Department. And I'm here with
Captain Sean Lawler.
So we're gonna take a look what's inside this place and the fire trucks. Come on with me.
We have other towns that we monitor, the police department who does a majority of our dispatching, and then this is ourselves. And in order to get through or communicate a call out, it either comes through our phone lines, which are recorded for 911 in case we miss any information, and then the PD also dispatches over to us and allows us to know what's going on, and then we can put out the proper resources or number of resources that we need simply by pushing the button. And that goes through the other 2 stations and this way. 1851, this is when the piece became part of the Shrewsbury Fire Department. I think it was housed originally down by where the old Spags area was. And when they moved on and started upgrading their pieces of equipment, they put this one in storage, and it was down at the Floral Street School for quite a long time. And when we had the new building in 2007, I think it was either Chief LaFlamme or Chief Owner who decided to bring them in-house and display them as part of our history here at the Shrewsbury Fire Department. Think I can lift him up?
No.
That's simple. Watch. Just throw him over your back like this. Pick him up. And then you can walk around, jump and hide, do all those fun things. The only thing I've really been good at is picking things up. If we're inside our home and the smoke detectors are going off and we can't get outside, we'll check that door to see if it's warm or not. And it is warm, we can't get outside because there's a lot of smoke. We don't hide under our bed, in our closet, anywhere. We stay somewhere against the wall, low to the ground, where the good area is not standing up where it's hot and dark, and down low where it's on the ground. And then to start the truck up, we have a battery switch that's right below you. We just turn that on, that connects it to the power source. And there's a push button over here, but we don't have keys that starts up the truck. So you just push the button to start it, and then everything revs up and you hear it working as it is now.
You have the lights and horns, wipers, sirens, and then on top here you have other additional sirens that you can put on to warn the people that when we're coming down the road, lights and sirens, they're supposed to move, stop their vehicle on the right side of the road and allow us to pass by so nobody gets in an accident. This is our horn. That tells everybody, get out of my way, but in a polite way. Okay, and then you have a foot pedal over here. And that's your siren. That allows everybody to know, move over! You hear it?
Yeah.
Pretty loud.
Yeah.
And they also have another one over here that you can push. And that gives you a regular sound like a siren. Pretty cool. You're gonna open it up like this. You ready? We're gonna aim it out there. You feel it?
Yep.
Yep. There you go. And that's all it is. So you got all your gear on, plus you're working the hose. And if you need to go up, you gotta push it down. And if you gotta go down, you gotta face it up. And then we gotta move forward, move forward, move forward, all slow like that. That's how you do it.
Very
Pretty
cool.
good?
Yeah.
So you can hold it on your own. Pay attention to what you're doing. Pretty good?
Yeah.
I'm gonna set it down. You see it does a different one? Like that.
Whoa.
Okay? And shake your hand out. It's a different hose. And we use that one to put out the gases and the hot air. We put that right out a window. Like that. But if we want to go further, we gotta go like that. And if we want to get it even further, we gotta put the pressure on.
Whoa! Guys, look at that. So cool, right? Whoa! It's so high up in the air.
So when he goes all the way up, he can see all the way down to Boston. That's how high it is. And if we didn't have the cars on each side, he can also drop that straight down on the ground so it can be like parallel to the ground. And you can use this big, huge water cannon that they have up front. Ready, brother?
Yeah.
Watch your head.
So keep coming right in. All right. So you saw me going around, right?
Yeah.
So here are my controls, right up here. So that's how I make the ladder go up and down. That's how I make it go right or left. And that's how I make it go out, in and out. You got to be pushing this down right here. Okay, and then there's a button down there where Alex's that has to be put up, but then the tower will work. So like Captain Lawler showed you this is the deck gun right here. This is how I control it. So I can click it up and I can deploy it. So see, I can make it go and I can make it go left and right. Okay, and if this ever broke, I can actually do it manually right here. I can take this, break this out, stick it right in there, and then I can crank it around and I can...
Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. So interesting, right? Back to me in the studio. You guys know what to do, right? So the time starts. 3, 2, 1, start! 60 seconds. I wonder who's gonna win, guys! So cool. Wow! You have 44 seconds left! Come on, shake it, shake it! Come on, I know you can do it! You can do it any way you want! Come on, I know you can do this! Come on! I wonder who's gonna win, guys! You have 19 seconds! Oh, I wonder who's gonna win. I think Captain Lawler is gonna win. You have 10 seconds, guys! Only 10! 6 seconds! Oh, 2 seconds left! Thank you so much for watching me on SMCTV. And thank you for watching me on my YouTube channel. Don't forget to smash the like button, ring the bell, and subscribe. Thank you so much.